people, and I've never had anyone disrespect me like that in uniform. It is funny. Just because you don't find it funny doesn't mean other people do. And I explained to you that this had nothing to do with you personally. And I would never put you in a meme that said, you know, you're a clown, or Chief South's a clown, look at this clown, you know.
Sergeant Chris Wall had no idea that a casual breakfast between other officers, which he didn't even attend himself, would result in him receiving disciplinary action. Even though one of the other men was a former member of the department who had left on bad terms, Wall did not believe that it was going to be an issue since they were meeting in a public place. It was an assumption he would later regret. Wall was informed that another diner in the restaurant overheard the conversation and that it was very negative and disparaging to the police department. What concerned him, however, was when the conversation shifted to tasers, which led them to make a complaint to the department. An investigation into each of the officers, including Wall, began almost immediately. Oddly enough, the entire line of questioning revolved around the possible disparaging remarks and posts made on social media, and almost never touched on the tasers. This begs the question, did someone truly make a complaint, or was this just an excuse for the chief to smother any dissent in the department?
That's the whole video and also.
Is it gone? So it got taken off?
Yeah, the whole purpose.
Okay, I'll see if she still has it.
Chief? Okay.
Yeah, actually, not bad.
Is it?
I mean, I got there within 30 seconds of the wreck. Why we should have time to fire the door open. So, we got 18 people in that are right and driving.
We get a lot of those ones too.
Yeah, definitely has to turn it on.
It was about a quarter mile inside of there.
Okay, are we running?
Yes.
Okay. So, just so everyone knows, Chris, we already recorded. Okay. So, we're going to go around the room and identify everybody who's in here.
Chris Wall.
Time here, attorney representing Sergeant Wall.
Ann Sanders, Interim Director, City of Milton.
Chris Wall,
Patrick South, Chief of Police, City of Milton. All right, today we're here in reference to IA case 2020-02. And you were given a notice of sustained allegations for neglect of duty and failure to supervise or fail to provide proper leadership.
Yes.
This is all related to an incident that occurred, I think, prior to or on or after the 13th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So, I guess we'll start with when were you made aware of this breakfast with David Gerloff, or any information that David had for the purpose of that breakfast?
For the purpose of the breakfast, not till afterwards. Probably, if I had to, I would just have to approximate it around noon, around lunchtime. I remember I was at QT's taking a break, and when I checked out, the guys came out there.
The other officers had decided to go to breakfast together. Although Wall had a general idea of what was happening, he chose to stay on patrol.
So prior to that day, I might need my text message. Prior to the day of that breakfast, you were not contacted by David in any fashion related to what his intents were to conduct that sort of.
No, I got a phone call from him after.
It was the first one and then the second one.
But nothing before that time. No phone call or text message.
Okay, we'll show you there's two text messages here, this one here, and this one here. So maybe you've ever seen those before. You might be very different.
Yeah, I think I saw that, but one of the guys showed me after the fact.
So you
but
were
not on my phone.
So you were one of the recipients on it on the
Yes, sir.
next level. When was the last time that you actually physically saw David Gerloff?
Last time physically saw him. I think it was maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks.
And that was the first time since.
Oh, so the last time I saw him was about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks. Before that, I think the time before that would have had to have been when I saw him out of the parking lot the day of his, shoot, I don't remember, Chief. It was one of the times when he was up in the PD, when he was still getting his discipline stuff handled.
So you saw him, let's see, you were interviewed on the 21st of May,
Okay.
right? And you saw him so you saw him at the beginning of June or the end of May?
Yes, probably the beginning of June.
But it was after all of this?
Yes.
And you had really no contact with him other than that between the time he was fired and
No physical contact.
you also communicate text, phone calls, that kind of stuff?
Yes.
An officer who had previously been fired from the department was also at breakfast. He, according to the other officers, was the source of the negative comments.
So you just stabbed her and walked away? Yes. Okay. Did and you said she never cried. She was nice to you the whole time.
Yes.
When you stabbed her, did she ask you why, or did she just?
I don't think she expected me to, because I told her to get down on her knees. And then I told her, I said, don't get up until you know I'm gone. And that's when everything else went a totally different way.
How many times would you think that you conversed with him since his termination?
Well, when we were on night shift, because he works night shift as well, so we talked maybe, I would say 3 times a week, talked on the phone, but since when I went to day shift, we weren't talking a whole lot, maybe because he was still during the day, I was working during the day, so maybe once a week, something like that.
And you don't keep any of those text messages, right?
No.
Is it usual practice for you to delete all your text messages?
Yes.
All right, so let's go to the morning of the 13th. And I guess the first you were ever made aware of this was when Kyle talked to you about it?
Yes.
So,
About the breakfast?
yeah, let's start there and kind of move forward from that point.
Okay. Plus, I don't remember if he either texted me or called me. I think he texted me and said, I don't know if it was text or call. I just remember it was Kyle that contacted me and said, we're going to go eat breakfast. We're meeting David Gerloff for breakfast at Lisco's. Do you want to go? And I said, well, who's going? And he said, well, me and Jaboris. And I said, no, that's 2 of y'all. I'm just going to stay on the street while you guys eat breakfast. He said, okay. So then after that, it was a few minutes after that, well, before I had left the PD to go on patrol, I had Marco doing some work for me since he was on light duty. And he said that his thumb was in pain, and he said, can I go home? I changed my mind. Can I go home because I need to take some pain pills? And I said, yeah. I said, will you finish what you're doing first, and then you can take off? Is that okay? And he said, yeah, that's fine. So I left and went on patrol. Those guys said they were going to go to breakfast. And then Marco called me maybe 5 minutes after Kyle hung up and said, hey, I finished what you asked me to do. Can I go home now? And I said, yeah. He said, well, I haven't eaten anything. I'm not feeling good. I'm going to go get something to eat with the guys. And I said, okay, make sure you're clocked out before you leave. And he said, yeah, I just clocked out right now. And I said, okay. So I didn't hear anything until, like I said, noonish, maybe 1 when I went to QT's to get something to drink.
Let's hold it for that. One more question, so we'll stop right there. So you've had a number of conversations with David. Would you say it would be fair to say that David is not necessarily happy about the way he left the police department?
No.
would you actually say he would pretty much be a disgruntled employee?
He doesn't come off as disgruntled. He's just, I think, more hurt than disgruntled, and kind of confused. But I've seen disgruntled. You know, I've been in law enforcement for a while, and I would describe it as disgruntled.
So, and at this time, you didn't know anything about his argument?
No, I didn't.
So, they're going to breakfast. Did you ask about or anybody else why they were going to breakfast with that, or did it raise concern for you in any form of fashion?
No, not at all. It was, he said, we're going to meet David for breakfast. I know David's asked me if I want to go get breakfast in the morning sometimes because when he comes home, he drives through town. I haven't because when I was on night shift and in the mornings, I try to get on time on my way in, you know, that thing. So it was just like it wasn't anything.
Wall doesn't mention that he knows that eating with an officer who had been let go would not be seen as a wise career move.
I didn't ask him. It was just, hey, we're going to go to breakfast with David. I said, okay. Nothing. And I don't want to say it's obvious because, you know, you don't know everything how I think and how I do things, but to me it's obvious if I would have known that that's what it was about, yeah, I would definitely completely said, hey guys, that's not for work time. Whether the meeting place was at the park or where nobody was around or at a restaurant, that wouldn't have happened with my knowledge.
Yeah, with your level of experience, I would think that you would do that. So,
Well, I don't want you to assume.
no.
So I'm telling you, that wouldn't have happened.
So if others who were on your shift indicated to us that you did have an understanding of what was occurring, how are they completely mistaken?
They're mistaken, absolutely.
All right, so you chose not to go simply because two folks were going to be there?
Yeah, I was at a policy and I was going to stand and shoot while they got breakfast.
Even with, I mean, not even knowing about the survey, knowing David's temperament at the time, do you think now, looking back in hindsight, that you might have should have asked some questions beforehand?
Looking back now, yeah, absolutely. I should have taken that into consideration. But I feel like, you know, they're all three adults and they should know how to act in public. And I don't like to micromanage my guys or to be in a personal business. If I had, again, I just didn't think it was such a concern where it needed that at the time. But again, in hindsight, yeah, absolutely, I would have reconsidered it.
Well, generally speaking, if I was in that situation, it would lead me to go, hey, you've never done this up until this point in time since he's left, so what are you going to leave for? So I would think it'd be reasonable that you would have asked at least one or two questions.
Well, we had been on night shift since then, and now that we're out, so we were like on day shift only 5 days, so it was like something, you know, the timing, I think, just didn't raise any concern or any kind of question because we were already here, we weren't going home, and he was coming home, they hadn't eaten breakfast, so it was just,
I wouldn't really consider it micromanaging for you to do that. Just to say, hey, you're just kind of watching out for your folks, make sure they're not hurting themselves. They're relatively young officers, right?
yes, correct,
They don't really have a level of training experience yet.
correct.
So that's one of the jobs of the supervisor is to watch out for his folks. Make
Sure.
You know,
Absolutely.
so, so after that point in time, around noon, you were in QTs.
Yeah, I was either between, it was like noon and 1 o'clock, I was at QT's and checked out for a drink, and I think Kyle, I don't remember if it was Marco or Jabor. Yeah, it wasn't Marco, it was Jaborson. They both came up and were filling me in on what was said about the survey.
The survey Wall refers to is a morale survey that was being proposed. The chief made it very clear that he was opposed to the idea. And before we continue, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. Today's video has no sponsor, so if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be extremely appreciated.
Okay, so, Morris and Kyle?
Yes.
Okay. And so what did they talk?
Just that when they met with him, that he was talking about doing a survey and asked me what I thought about it, would I think it was a good idea, and I said, well, I'll talk to him later about it and find out the details. And that's what I did. Him and I talked later on that night, and he gave me the details of it, and I asked him, well, I didn't want to participate unless it was going to be offered to everybody, and he said, yeah, it's going to be offered to everybody from the chief down. It's not necessarily a bad thing. People can say good things about what's going on in the department as well. And I said, well, yeah, then if it's something that comes up, yeah, I'd be interested in doing it.
Did you guys talk about anything else that may have occurred during that breakfast or conversations that they had?
No, only about the survey is what they mentioned to me.
Is that when you found out about the rest of the information that was listed in that text?
Yes.
So it's more than a survey.
What do you mean?
Whoever the email is going to get a list of demands presented to me, and if that didn't work, they go to the city manager and city council.
Oh, I don't know anything about a list of demands. I didn't see anything about that.
So, but you did see those, right?
Yeah, it looks familiar. I didn't read it word for word, and I don't remember it because my thought was just I'll ask David later.
Dave, there's 3 text messages there. Go ahead and read those, and see if that's the information that David related. Yes. That's how I explained it. So you explained that. So at what time did you have all of this information that's listed in here?
I think I called him on the way home.
On the way out that day? Okay, so when you met with the guys at QT, you didn't have that information?
No.
Okay. Nothing to do with
Well, no, what I'm saying is they showed me the text message at QT's, but I didn't read it verbatim like I just did now. I skimmed through the first part, and my response was, well, I'll talk to David tonight. So then on my way home, he explained that to me.
So while at QT's, you didn't have all that information?
No, only vague information about, they talked about a survey that was going to be through TMPA. I didn't have all the details or anything like that.
So what happened after that?
We went back on patrol, and that was it. Until later that night on my way home, I called Dave.
The following day? So you got that information from David that night, right?
Yes.
Once you got all that information, did that bring some concern to you about your officers and actually doing your meeting in uniform in a public place to do that? Did it raise questions for you that you should say, hey, maybe I need to let the commander know or anything like that?
No.
Nothing at all?
No, because I I mean, nothing had been, they discussed it, it had already been discussed, there was no action that had been taken, with the survey. I don't know if it would ever come to fruition or not, so.
That's the reason I'm saying, you never thought, hey, I need to mention that to Chris or anything like that?
No, because people say things all the time that they're going to do things or write statements or do, I'm going to complain on this person or I'm going to do this and that, and until it happens, it's not, to me, it just didn't seem anything that I needed to tell them about unless something actually started taking place and then, we'll mention something then.
Okay. So what happened then?
Regardless of whether he thought anything would come of the conversation, mentioning it to his superior would have helped to minimize his current position. On the other hand, the other officers would have seen him as a snitch, which could have made working conditions unpleasant at best.
Nothing. We talked about that, and then that was it.
So.
And then nothing happened up until.
So after you all left my office, what happened then?
I asked the guys to meet me behind HEB. I went to meet them behind HEB, and I don't remember if they got a call at McDonald's or if Commander Noble had called them. They got called away. They didn't meet me right away is what happened.
Okay.
And I was literally, I could see Marco's house from there, so I went and talked to Marco, told him to expect a phone call and let him know what just occurred. And at that time, him and I were talking. Jaboris and Kyle were coming down the street. I guess they could see my patrol car there, so they came over.
So when all of y'all were together, what was the conversation about?
Just that we couldn't believe your reaction to what had happened, the way you talked to us, and how we felt about the whole thing. And I could tell that I felt kind of bad because Marco was.
At any time during that conversation, did the officers and you were discussed what your responses would be to internal affairs?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
If I had officers who were with you at that time who said that you all did talk about what your responses would be?
I'd be shocked.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that did occur.
Okay.
So why would at least two of your officers tell me that they did discuss what to say? And you were present for them?
Yeah, you'd have to ask them. There's nothing to discuss. I mean, they had breakfast. There was nothing it wasn't a crime scene where we had to talk about who was going to be the getaway driver or anything like that. So that wasn't a discussion, or that wasn't something that.
Well, it wasn't just discussed about what the responses would be. Two of the officers actually responded in that manner.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So the conversation is that they would just say they didn't recall anything about the conversation.
Oh, okay. At the breakfast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Even though they all very well knew or they said they didn't recall. And in fact, he did.
Okay.
Until pressed on it, and then they decided to go ahead and tell the truth.
I see.
So if I have them telling me ahead of time that they talked about it, they actually did it, and they came off of it, that kind of really seems to appear that that's exactly what they did. And you're telling me that didn't happen.
All I remember is reiterating what you said, and I was just totally beside myself. I've never seen you act like that. I felt disrespected, and I'm telling you my frame of mind. That's maybe why I wasn't paying attention to that. But
it's pretty clear, President, you were police chief, right?
During a previous meeting with Chief South, Walt and the other officers, South yelled and swore at them in an unprofessional manner.
Sure, absolutely.
How long have you been on?
20 years.
If there's a conversation about what to say in the internal affairs investigation prior to it occurring with a group of individuals, it's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And in 20 years, it was a big deal of how you made me feel, and I've never had anyone disrespected like that in uniform. So I was pretty beside myself.
So, don't recall anything like that.
Not to that specific discussion, no.
So,
Like I said, we were there for a very short time.
So what occurred after that?
A call came through and we went back on patrol and we didn't discuss anything after that. Up until, well, we didn't discuss it, but nothing else happened up until shift change when we got our notice of do not discuss.
Have you had any text messages, emails, or conversations with anyone after your do not discuss it?
Yes, but not about this.
About this text?
No, not about the case.
No one at all, really knows.
No. Well, just in general, like asking about, hey, have you heard anything? What you're hearing? No specific things.
So, have you had any conversations with anybody outside of this one?
No. I'm not gonna put myself in a position where I'm causing myself any more problems.
Has anybody come and given you information related to this case that you didn't ask?
No.
I'll come back to a couple of questions here, just a little bit, Chris, and let you talk.
We discussed the social media posts, particularly ones that have Chief South's name tagged to it as Pollard's name as well. About the text messages, or I'm sorry, about the postings that had, one had Chief South's name tagged to it, another had B.A. Pollard attached to it. Can you explain those?
Yeah, real quick, that second page there, go back to the page you have. So this was never brought up to us. Why is this in here?
That's just one of the photos that was sent to me.
Okay.
It is not a matter that related to any questions I would ask you.
Okay.
It was not used for any consideration.
Okay.
Which one were you asking about, Chris?
South.
Right. So I know I talked to you about that, and I think the best way to explain that is and I've done it before, and you've seen me do it before, and I think you may have done it before in the patrol room. So you have a bunch of guys talking, and they're talking freely and loosely, and then you say, "Oh, hey, Chief, how's it going?" And then everybody's like, it gets a reaction like, "Oh crap." I just said, I'm talking freely, and Chief's behind me, or hey, sir, what's up? And they're like, oh shit, But so that's basically the typed version during that discussion.
Is that a meme, Chris? That was attached to that?
This?
Yeah.
No, it's just a GIF, or whatever. It's a little, it's like it plays like a 2-second.
So what does it say?
That one? Girls only want boyfriends who have great skills. But the thing is you have to understand that I wasn't tagging you in that. It's an ongoing conversation, so it was something above that. It wasn't to that. I think I did the skills things to Sergeant Pollard, I think.
The issues with the social media posts show that it is usually better to keep work and private life separate.
At B.A. Pollard.
To the email.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so it's like for instance, the don't be hating and then the B.A. Pollard, that's out of context because that's not a response to that. That was something else. It's like, I think several people were on there, so when you're commenting, like I'm actively commenting to your comment, but then you comment on something, so now you're in between him and I. So you have to read the whole thing, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
What was the context of it?
I don't know, it was so long ago, I really don't know. Another insignificant, I just put my 2 cents in, as you saw, I got some laughs, and it was just something funny, and that was it, we just moved on.
So what was the look? You said it's not tagged in here. What was tagged in there?
That's what I'm saying, it must have been something, either the whole conversation before, whatever started, or it was just funny to get a reaction, like I said, like if the guys are just talking loosely, and they're like, oh, hey, chief, does that make sense to you? And then they're like, oh, crap.
Actually, no.
Okay, so, let's say I'm like, man, I just got to report you. I'm not using this stuff. And then you're like, oh, hey, chief. As if you're standing behind me, but you're really not. It's just a joke. You know? Does that make sense?
Well, with that being said, then why would you say the chief or something like that rather than his name?
At Peace South? No thought behind it. It was just, it was on a private account, so it's not like the public sees it anyway.
People that are in this string that are non-employees or former employees, and those that are in the string that either are or maybe not coming but are in it. Is it appropriate to be tagging employees' names to names?
Well, so you don't know it's an employee unless you've worked here, right?
Then I'm just saying, we know.
Okay.
We know because of the names. And those other people that are involved in it, particularly like Isaac, Kyle, and they're not, whether they're actively participating or not.
Right.
So these are subordinate peers,
Yeah.
right?
They're subordinate.
That you're talking about peers and your supervisors, right?
I wouldn't say talking about you. Like, what do you mean by that?
South does not get Wall's sense of humor. He is the type that will take everything personally, even if it is not directed at him.
You're tagging us to different things, so we're part of that conversation, and whether what you're saying is joking or not. But that's basically what you're doing.
And it's a continuation on it, like after, the B.A. Pollard pops up, then a picture of He-Man. He's got a Pollard. Fitness.
So that's not offensive. It's just.
Well, but it's still mocking.
Oh, okay.
And then, then you can't control what other people put in there, but who is this? Chief, or your chief to your statement or something of that nature. I know that's just not your post,
Sure.
but it goes into the totality of the string, context and content of who else is singing this and the mocking of the chief or Pollard. And then, of course, there's one regarding me, which you showed that to me when you created it. Yes, it was funny when it was between you and I. But on social media, it's not funny. And
Well, first of all, it is funny. Just because you don't find it funny doesn't mean other people do. And I explained to you that this had nothing to do with you personally. My memes about police work have to do with my experience in policing, and they don't involve anybody here specifically. And that didn't have anything to do with you.
Chris, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
In our policy, is it allowed to take peers, subordinate supervisors, and post things that could be construed in the derogatory manner?
No.
Is it a violation of policy?
Yes, absolutely. If I specifically name someone or put someone in there, sure, absolutely.
So, when there's names in this one,
Whose name is in that one?
well, there's P South, there's,
Oh, I thought we were talking about.
I'm talking about all of them.
Okay. No, then, so I would say to you that I would ask if those people found it derogatory. derogatory, or did it was just a joke in passing? If your commander can tell you if you're done.
We're trying to get you to understand, Chris, is what you may consider a joke to you may not be a joke to somebody else. And you need to be cognizant of that.
Sure.
With your professional working environment.
Absolutely.
Remember in your evaluation, put it in there? That makes sense to me.
I do. I remember exactly what you said. And I can also tell you that tagging B. Pollard or B.A. Pollard or you, it's nothing that I wouldn't say in front of you there at the police department. Pollard and I have had not such a great relationship, but we also, razz each other in front of each other too. So we do have professionalism about ourselves. We can make fun of each other and ourselves. And it's nothing that I put in there that I wouldn't say in front of them and that we haven't joked about during shift changes. So we try to keep it pretty loose.
Do you see the point I'm trying to make?
Yes, absolutely. I see the point you're trying to make. And I would never put you in a meme that said, you're a clown or Chief Stock's a clown, look at this clown, specifically like that. I didn't think that, I didn't see it as you're seeing it until now you're explaining it. Sure.
It'd be no different than if I was to put at city wall on some string that you're not involved in, that other people that I am with, that it's funny to me, if you look at it, that is, I was trying to get you to understand perception.
Sure.
And perception, we all know what perceptions are.
I can see the perception. Absolutely.
Fun in personal life is one thing, a business life, as you know, is a separate entity.
Absolutely.
And what I'm seeing here is your inability to distinguish between the two.
Okay. But again, I have to reiterate that wasn't on a public post. Okay. It wasn't like I was out in public saying, hey, at Peace South or hey, at, B.A. Pollard or whoever.
But regrettably, circumstances, it became alive. It is public.
Yeah. Regrettably, it came right after we got complained on. I think it's very strange, but yeah, you're right.
Well, this is what I tell everybody. Somebody's watching. Somebody's going to take a picture of it.
Yeah. It's just weird that it wasn't like that one, for instance. It's strange that it's only a problem. It wasn't a problem a month ago when I posted it just now. So, just suspicious. But things are weird. Yeah.
Perhaps even stranger is the fact that the chief hasn't addressed the alleged conversation about tasers, which was supposed to have been the reason for a civilian making a complaint.
Well, are you insinuating something about it, Chris?
Just that it's just a coincidence. Quite a strange coincidence is all.
Why is it strange?
Because again, I've been posting memes for over 2 years, and now that I'm under investigation, now it's a problem. So
I don't know about any of that.
exactly. So isn't that weird?
Somebody wants to bring something up.
Yeah, it's just the timing. It's just really strange.
I had no idea those even existed.
I'm sure you didn't. You're not on social media, right? Yeah. Understandable.
And that goes back to the whole point of it's funny to once the person who has no knowledge of it, has knowledge of it, it's not funny.
Sure.
So what's the impact that you're having under subordinates?
What did they relay the impact was?
That's
This is not what we're asking.
what is your thinking of what you think that your impact is? Being self-aware of you being the leader of your people. What your impact on them when they see these things?
They're going to think that's okay.
Right.
Did you imitate your sergeant when you were there?
Yeah, I was.
Did you have a tendency if your sergeant did certain things certain ways? Would you think that those things were okay to do too for a young officer?
You saw my influence? Yeah, absolutely.
So you can see you're influencing a young group of officers. Is that in a professional way? There's a difference between being a supervisor and being buddies.
Yeah.
What does the city of Logan pay you to do?
Be a supervisor.
And you think that this is part of that?
I think that, can I talk to him real quick?
You have to answer my question.
Okay. What was the question again?
Do you think that that's a professional way of doing things?
Okay, well, I think that what you're saying is true, that it's, joking around and being buddies is not what I'm hired for. And is it influenced? Does it influence him? Yes. And not trying to throw you under the bus, but Commander Noble is present when a lot of those joking times come about. And so if you're saying, does it influence those guys to think that it's okay that I do it? Yeah, I think that it's okay if Commander Noble, jokes with us and sits there and does the same thing. So to me, it's just, we're being loose, and it's the culture of what's going on there, We're just loose, and it's nothing that him or I or anybody else is trying to dig at anybody. It's just, there's a time and a place for us to have fellowship and to be loose, and there's a time to be serious, and he knows when it's time to be serious and work. I know when it's time to be serious and work, and the guys know when it's time to be serious to work. So there is a balance of professionalism and home life, or how did you describe it? Personal life and professionalism, but they go together, I think it's important for me to know this.
But that's not not by leading, not by example, by doing these types of things necessarily isn't something you're not. And then they're going to think that's okay to do. There's got to be a separation when you do those types of things.
I got you.
Is there not a difference when we're all in the squadron, chatting, talking, yes, and making jokes, as opposed to, because we're all there face to face,
Right. But
as opposed to social media, where that other person is not able to be part of the conversation, part of that time.
you're right, but we've also had plenty of conversations that people are not around, and we joke about them. Do we not? Okay. So I don't see.
Or in your conversations with the lieutenant or Commander Noble on social media? Okay. Are any of them made around other subordinates?
Yes.
The chief is not happy that Wall has pointed out that these posts have not been an issue for 2 years. The timing certainly makes it seem as if South is out to get Wall.
Did any of the other subordinates indicate that that was something that bothered them?
No.
You want to meet with your attorney?
Nope.
Tiger, did you want to meet with him?
Nope.
I kind of thought that was strange. How come you're keeping all of this kind of stuff?
What is that?
Is that your desk?
Yep, that's my desk.
So what's the purpose of doing that?
Which part?
The name tags.
No purpose at all. They were on my desk, and somebody put them on my desk, and I put them in my desk.
Are those current employees?
No.
They're all former employees, right?
Yes, they are.
Who kept those?
I don't know. They were on my desk after they left, and I just slid them in my desk.
They were,
I didn't put them all in order like that either.
they were on your desk after they left.
Correct.
After those individuals left or after Gerloff left?
I don't remember a specific time when they were all on my desk.
Did you get those with you?
No. No, and when I came, they would be on my desk. I don't know who put them there.
That someone just randomly appear on your desk like that?
Yeah, someone put a chocolate dick on my desk. I don't know who people put stuff on my desk to be funny, or to just put stuff on my desk. I don't know. I've gotten all kinds of stuff on my desk.
Did you ask your fellow supervisors and stuff, what the heck is this doing on my desk for?
No, because it might not have been them.
But you kept it, right?
Yeah, I put them on my desk.
What would be the purpose of keeping them if you didn't put them there?
No reason. You just got random stuff on my desk. I have a toy, I have a badge, I have a sunglass case, I have business cards, notepads, all kinds of stuff in there.
Did you have any more questions, Chris?
No.
Tell me about the shift shirts.
Just more EPD, US 290.
Did you get approval for the shirts?
Nope. I didn't know I needed to get approval.
It says here, do you have the ability to represent the Ogden Police Department independently?
It didn't say open. I mean, nobody knows it's open except us.
Once again, do you have the individual authority to put something on a t-shirt like that?
I mean, it could be ULIS PD, it could be Eugene PD.
It's a yes or no question, Chris. Do you have authority to do that or not?
No.
No, you do not. You said in your interview that you tag officers to different departments all the time.
Yes, sir. Been doing that for 2 years.
Do you know of any other examples you could tell me of where you did that?
Temple, Round Rock, Laredo, El Paso, and maybe a couple others that have come up randomly on my Facebook page.
How did that get started?
Just people just saying that they want to leave here and that they're not happy here, so it started just as a joke. Well, here you go, you know, apply here, they're hiring, and then it just was funny and it just kind of went off from there. Like Commander Noble said, I understand my sense of humor is not for everybody. That's why I didn't tag everybody. It's just a few guys that know that, you know, we have inside jokes and that's it.
South is obsessive about the posts. He is determined to pin something on wall, no matter how insignificant.
So the dates, when were the dates on these?
No, there's provided.
Do you still have this on your phone?
What is that?
Between Chris Wall, Kyle Wooten, I'm assuming, and I recognize the card.
Maybe I'm just gonna say JD, Boris Dickerson. Is that what you said?
Do you still have this?
No.
Do you know what about that? What time frame was that? Something like that?
I think that was probably about a week after, maybe a week or so after we left your office. And I sent a message to the guys about, you know, keeping your head up, that they're good guys, and so forth. Yeah, I would say about a week after, because nobody was hearing anything. The guys were obviously sick to their stomachs. They thought they were getting fired and everything. Nobody had reached out to them, so I sent them a message just to say, is that the message?
It's harder.
Yeah, it's hard to read, but. Yeah, that's my text. You want me to read it to you?
Most of it. Gives me a headache to read it, but I know most of it.
It's a little blurry. I think that, I see you and Commander Noel's concerns about my leadership. I think that, you guys, Commander Noel, you can tell you that, my shift is one of the most productive shifts here in the city. I have some good guys that would do anything for me, and I do anything for them, so I think that,
Well,
I think that counts for something.
I've known you since you've been here when I hired you. You have good abilities, and you are an exceptional supervisor. There's rough edges we need to work out, and some of the normal issues we still need to work on with you. But then, really kind of seemed after David was fired, you kind of turned a little bit, and I wouldn't say being disgruntled, but definitely something that you changed to where there were starting to be some issues. And I don't really know if that was the catalyst for it or something else. So, do you think it was different, or was that something that was so significant for you? You decided to change the way you were, or
I don't recall anything specific that's changed in my demeanor. I mean, maybe if you can point something out, I could definitely.
South has moved on to gaslighting Wall by claiming that his demeanor has changed. Wall responds correctly by asking for concrete examples.
So a lot of just comments, conversations about folks about you being more negative, really not supportive of the police department, those kind of things.
Just stuff you hear here and there.
Yeah, we go up and down in our career, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. It seemed like when Dave got fired, you kind of tanked there for a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't think it wasn't so much that David got fired. I think I've struggled with the fact that you asked me to change some of the wording in my report. I think that really.
Actually, I just told you to take certain
You take certain things off, correct?
What
Which
did
is
I tell you to take out?
my summaries.
No, I told you to take out conclusions.
Well, it's a summary conclusion, correct?
So because you're an investigator and you have no business making a conclusion, you were just there to present the facts. Is that what I told you?
Not specifically.
That's specifically what I told you.
Okay. Well, what I recall you saying in the hallway was that I needed you to take those out because it makes it easier for me to fire David. That's what you said downstairs in the hallway. Right before you walked in Lieutenant Noble's office.
When exactly would I have made that comment?
I don't know what date it was, but it was after the third time I was asked to take something out of the report, and I hadn't seen you. You had asked, I guess Commander Noble had asked me to take certain parts out, and then I was asked one time by Chief Taylor to take something out, and then you asked me downstairs, I saw you after that, and you asked me if I was, right. And then you asked me, you were coming in one day, and you asked me, did I remember, did I have the report finished? And I said, yes, I turned it in. I think Chief Taylor had it at that time, because Commander Noble was gone for some reason. And you said, you know why I asked you to take that out, right? And I said, I don't remember if I said yes or no, but you said, okay, it makes it easier for me to fire David.
I need a specific date for me that occurred, so I'll go back and look and pull the cameras up.
Okay. I think you were wearing a green shirt and dark tan pants.
You need to provide a date for that.
Okay. Not to disrespect you, why do I need to provide it?
Because you anticipated an allegation that I basically wanted to fire
I didn't make an allegation, I'm not alleging anything, I didn't put anything on paper, I'm just answering your questions, sir.
I'm answering what you're asking me to what you can. It's real simple. You just made an allegation that I concluded to fire an employee prior to completing the investigation. What I told you, you can pull this up on camera too, it's very simple. You're not the one to make conclusions as the investigator. You made a number of conclusions, and I had you remove those. It's very simple. They were one line as to whether or not you wanted to sustain or you thought it should be sustained or not sustained. That's the only thing I had. that's not your place to do that. I believe that's exactly what I gave you the instruction on, because I had to send it back now and on time to have it done.
Correct.
Yeah, he relayed your message, but it's just, again, I had done it the way that I had submitted the first time. I had done that with other officers, and you accepted it the way it was.
That was your first internal affair.
No, it wasn't. I did Jeremy's before that. I did Chelsea's before that.
Those were the ones I didn't see.
Wall has made a fairly bold accusation. South attempts to explain away his actions, but Wall counters them one by one. Even if he makes it through this investigation, he may not have a future in this department for long.
You didn't see Jeremy?
Jeremy's I did. I don't remember recall that being in Jeremy.
It was in every charge that he had.
I'll go back and look. Nobody made any conclusion.
And I was only filling out the portions of the form that his answer had asked for. So, and that was what I was provided.
Any other questions?
No questions.
Tyler, do you have anything you want to say?
Yes, sir.
Anything you want to say in summary for us?
Me? No, sir.
You all-
Other than I'm not disgruntled, I like working here. I love the city. I love the people here. I love the guys here. I don't have, I think that, again, I'm over the ethics thing. I think that the ethics is not on me. I think it's a reflection of the ethics on you. So I feel good to myself that I'm doing the right thing, So I'm good. I'm ready to work and move forward and
Okay, what do you mean the ethics then? What are you talking about?
just like I said about removing things from the case that I did from the internal affairs. I mean, you're the chief of police, right? You can make any decision you want. You can override anything. So it doesn't make sense that if I just left what was in there for you to just override it anyway.
Because it's not your job.
Okay, I understand that.
Unfortunately, you don't see
I don't get it because it's not an opinion. It was based on facts, and that's what internal affairs is.
Y'all go ahead and adjourn. I'll play your recommendation.
All right.
Running?
It's running.
Okay, go right on.
No, that's reconvening the summary hearing for Sergeant Chris Wall, ID case number 2020-02. There's a couple of things I use from the discipline rate of this case, Chris. One, you've been a very valuable employee.
I appreciate that.
And you've done an exceptional job as a supervisor, but we do need to train and provide you some additional training as a supervisor.
Absolutely.
The failure to provide leadership in this case is going to remain sustained.
Okay.
And I'm going to utilize education-based discipline.
Okay.
You'll be placed on a 180-day performance improvement plan that will be developed around supervisory development.
Okay.
If you successfully complete that program, the final discipline in this case will be a written reprimand.
Okay.
If you fail to complete it in the time that's allowed, then you'll be subject to additional discipline to include termination.
Understood. And that will be outlined, yes.
You'll get copies of that. And
Like what the training is, will be outlined.
Commander Noble will be doing that with you.
Wall has been given extra training as a disciplinary measure. It probably was a lighter punishment than South wanted, but with the cameras rolling, it would have been difficult to be too extreme.
You'll have all that available. You can discuss this. No. You have questions, gentlemen?
That's it.
All right.
For copies of that, so the sustained one, will that, I can copy that later, or just
Copy this.
okay, but what do you sign on that?
That's
It's a control sheet and what the punishment is.
Okay, gotcha.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's gonna be a couple of weeks before I outline anything.
Now on your
time schedule,
I'm gonna insert you over where Dudley is and Bethlehem and Metro Car now, because they're, hang on. I gotta work, I forgot about coffee. That's a whole nother issue I need to.
because he's out, right?
Yeah, he's gonna be out for 10 weeks.
Okay.
And, we'll work on it because we got shift change coming up in about the same amount of time, so we'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'll get with you and we'll sit down and go over the schedule because I need you to tell me to work on the schedule.
Okay, so I'm off tomorrow, but if you call me later and I need to come in, let me know, or else I'm supposed to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Still want me on day shift, you just get with me later.
Just plan on being on day shift until we sit down and work it out otherwise.
That'll work, yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
And I just, before you guys want to reiterate, you're incredibly valuable.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just tell him I think he's an incredibly valuable part of this department.
I heard that, sir.
And I think it's in our best interest that we all work together.
I'm on with that.
And that's really all I got to say. I like working with you. You're a fun guy. But, bright line of business.
I get it, I see that, and we'll go from there.
Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like the video. And if you want to support the channel even more, there's a Patreon link in the description below. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.